Now everything that we did so far will only work against HTTP pages. The reason why it works against HTTP because as we've seen, the data in HTTP is sent as plain text, so it's text that humans like us can read and understand. That's why when we're the man in the middle, we're able to read this text, and if we wanted, we're able to modify this text as we wish. Now this is obviously a problem, and this problem was fixed in HTTPS. So as you know, most websites use HTTPS. The reason why, like I said, because it's a more secure version of HTTP, and basically the way it works is it adds an extra layer over HTTP, which is where the S comes from. So it's a secure HTTP protocol, and this extra layer will encrypt the plain text data that HTTP sends. So if a person manages to become the man in the middle, they will be able to read this data, but the data will be gibberish. It will not be readable to the person intercepting the connection. Now, HTTPS relies on TLS or SSL to encrypt the data, and this is very difficult to break. Therefore, in order to bypass this, the easiest method is to downgrade HTTPS connections to HTTP. So, since we're the man in the middle, we can check if the target is requesting a HTTPS website, and instead of giving him the HTTPS version of that website, we will give him the HTTP version. This way, the data will be sent in plain text and we'll be able to read it exactly as I showed you in the previous lecture. To do this, we'll have to manually configure and use a tool called SSL strip, and I show how to do this in my more advanced courses. But luckily, BetterCap has a caplet that'll do all of this for us. The only problem is, this caplet does not replace all HTTPS links to HTTP in the loaded pages. So I modified this caplet for you to make sure that it's going to work as expected, and I've included it in the resources of this lecture. So all you have to do is download the zip in the resources of this lecture, and I have it downloaded in my Kali machine. So I'm going to go to my files and to my downloads, and I have it right here. It's called hstshijack.zip. I'm going to right click it and extract it here. This is the folder of this caplet, and I'm going to copy it and paste it in the correct location where BetterCap loads caplets from. So to go to that location, you can either press Ctrl and L on your keyboard to open the path bar, or you can press here and press a / again to open the path bar. Once the path bar is open, we want to go to USR, Share, BetterCap, Caplets. So like I said, this is the default location where BetterCap stores all of the caplets. I'm going to hit enter. And as you can see, we already have this caplet in here. But like I said, this caplet is buggy. It doesn't work as expected. So I'm going to delete it. So right click, move to trash. And I'm going to paste the one that I just copied in here. So that's it. We're good to go. We can go ahead and use this caplet from BetterCap. But before we do that, I also want to go to my home directory. This is where I stored the caplet that we created in the previous lecture, the spoof caplet, the one that will run the ARP spoofing command and then run the sniffer. And I just want to modify one thing in this. So I'm going to right click it and open it with LeafPad. And what I want to modify is I want to add an option to the sniff in here. So as you know, this line net.sniff on will turn on my sniffer, but before turning it on, I want to set the net.sniff.local to true. And what this option will do It'll tell Bettercap to sniff all data even if it thinks this data is local data. The reason why I set this option to true, because once we use the HTTPS bypass caplet, the data will seem as if it's being sent from our computer. So Bettercap will think these passwords belong to me, to my computer, and it will not display it to me on screen. That's why we're setting it to true, so that we can see all the usernames and the passwords sent on the websites that we will downgrade from HTTPS to HTTP. So I'm going to save this, Control S, and quit it, Control Q, and now we are actually ready to go and use this caplet. So in the next lecture, I'm going to show you how to use this caplet to downgrade HTTPS connections to HTTP and therefore be able to sniff the URLs, the login information, and passwords that people enter on websites that use HTTPS by default.